Welcome back, college football fans. It's your boy, Coach I. And as always, I got the stat guy with me, man. We're here talking another season preview. To this time, it is the Kentucky Wildcats. Let's get into it.
The fanatic, where we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk, you know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina, upstate, A64. Yeah, the FANATTIC, the fanatic, where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what.
Hey, man, back in here for another season preview. College football is right around the corner, stat guy. How you feeling, man?
Hey, man, feeling great. Getting to talk some Kentucky Wildcats. Definitely a fun team to cover. They just play some physical football. We love to grind it out on people.
That's right, man. Another SEC program likes to play that physical style of football. Mark Stoops entering his 11th season. Hey, man, not for nothing. 7 straight bowl games appearances. And the last 7 seasons, he's had 6 winning. You know what I'm saying? And listen, they've only had 22 in their 100-year history. Some guy named Bear Bryant had another 6. So, hey, if he wins this year, he'll be basically have the most winning seasons of any coach in Kentucky history. Are they ready for a statue for Stoops?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you pass the Bear at anything, at any one of his stops, you're goated at least at that school. And, we joke all the time. I made the joke to you earlier that maybe he leaves for Bama whenever Saban retires and follows in Bear's footsteps. But look, man, I think he loves the lack of pressure there. He's just able to. It's unfortunate. It's still a basketball country in Kentucky, and when you don't have the pressure of a typical SEC school, he can just kind of lay under the weeds and just have fun coaching.
Hey, man, I like the choice of words there. They're in basketball country, maybe not a basketball school anymore. I don't know, man. Kentucky basketball fans, don't take it out on us. Listen, we just like Mark Stoops. Man, let's get into this preview today, stat guy, man. Let's talk about the 2022 season. It didn't end as good as it started. They started out 4-0. Levis was, riddled with injury here and there. Lost. They ended with a loss to Iowa team that they had beat previously in the bowl game to finish 7-6. So it's not the way they wanted it to. They still had a winning season. But I think they were on pace before some of those injuries, to be better in the SEC. I think their best win was at Florida, doubling up on Florida, because they've won 3 of the last 5. But because prior to that, they had lost 31 straight. So Kentucky, hey, is saying, look, we're tired of letting Florida roll up on us, and we're going to do something about it. But on the flip side, they lost to Vandy. And it wasn't just a loss to Vandy. It was a loss to Vandy at home. That's not what you want to do. I guess you could make an excuse if they were on the road because, listen, not for nothing, Vandy doesn't hold that many people. Maybe the atmosphere was dead and all that, but you can't be losing to them at home.
Yeah, no. And for me, the season just felt like it got off the rails. I think after the 4-0 start, we were thinking they had a shot to compete with Tennessee for second or third in the East, and it just never came to fruition for them. I'll be honest, their worst loss to me was the South Carolina loss at home, even though the Gamecocks my team. And I think it's the way they lost that game. They replaced their offensive coordinator this year, but their offensive coordinator goes off of a play chart, and he schedules the first 20 plays of the game. And the first play of the game was a trick play that led into a touchdown for South Carolina. And it's like you're starting your backup quarterback. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, that's right, man. So hopefully they made some corrections. Like you say, that was their OC. They brought back an OC. We'll get into that when we talk about the offense. But let's see what they did in that transfer portal and recruiting, man, to shore up some of those maybe leaky cracks, man. So first, let's talk about it. The portal, 21 into the portal, 13 out of the portal. They lost running backs, Kavasier Smoke. They lost safety. Well, Vito Tinsdale got actually dismissed from the team, and then he entered the portal. They lost offensive line Keontae Goodwin. So those are some key losses, but I thought they did well at pickups in the transfer portal. I thought they added a safety from Ohio State, Jansen Dunn, defensive lineman Keyshawn Silver from North Carolina. Of course, Devin Leary, everybody knows about him, you know what I'm saying, from North Carolina State. The running back from North Carolina State actually came with him too, a running back, I should say. Demi Sumo Cabarnier, if I'm saying that right, Demi, sorry about that, man. And then another offensive lineman, Tanner Bowles from Bama. So, I mean, not too shabby in the transfer portal.
Yeah, and so for me, it was the fact that they added Cox Marquise, who's going to be their starting left tackle this year from Northern Illinois. And I think that's going to be a big pickup. And then, of course, Ray Davis coming over from Vandy, 1,000-yard rusher last year. And let's be honest, me or you might be able to rush for 1,000 yards in Mark Stoops' offense. It feels like he always got a running back there chewing up the yards. So I think that's a huge get for him.
That's right, man. And then on the recruiting trail, man, they were 32nd overall, not where they want to be, 12th in the SEC, but they did, you know, I would say the more highly touted recruits in that cycle was 4-star wide receiver Shamar Porter and 4-star linebacker Grant Godfrey. Listen, Stoops, like I said, he's a great developer of talent. So anytime he can get a 4-star, that's just, you know, looks like icing on the cake, man. So let's talk about the offense, though. This offense is going to be, I would assume, going to look similar to 2021. Offensive coordinator Leah Cohen's back. When he was there in 2021, they averaged over 32 points a game, 425 yards per game, and they were 10-3. Now, the personnel is a little bit different, but it's still under Mark Stoops, the same philosophy. And if you think about the 425 yards per game, they dropped down 100 yards last year to only 325, yards per game. And like I say, some of that was due to injuries and stuff, but going from 32 points to 20 points last year per game, you can't have that kind of drop off and try to compete for the SECs.
Yeah, no, I definitely think the offense they got their guy back. They're going to be rolling. For me, one of the big players to kind of watch on the offense is going to be their starting right tackle, Jeremy Flax. Started 12 of the 13 games last year at that position. Offensive line was an area where they were kind of banged up last year. So having a assured guy starting at one of the tackle spots that's been there, knows the system, is going to really be key for him. And then, as mentioned earlier, Ray Davis at running back, over 1,000 yards rushing last year with 5 touchdowns at Vandy. And we already know what Stoops likes to do with guys in his backfield.
That's right, man. I personally think Devin Leary, college-wise, is an upgrade from from Will Levis because of what he's actually done on the field. Will Levis had a whole bunch of potential. I just don't feel like it actually really just came to fruition while he was in Lexington, like from top to bottom. But Devin Leary has played, to a high level. He's done it at NC State. Last year had a slight pectoral tear, but he should be, fully ready to go for game one. And then the offensive weapons that he has around him. I mean, I can go on and on because, like, the wide receiver core is Barron Brown, Dane Key, Tavion Robinson. They got Jordan Dingle at tight end, who's a freshman All-American. They got another tight end that backs him up that has high potential in Josh Caddis. And you mentioned Ray Davis. Like, there's a lot of weapons for a team, that's got a veteran quarterback coming in. And if that offensive line can hold up, we might be looking at one of those Benny Snell year type seasons. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, it ain't going to be for lack of talent.
Definitely not. But on the other side of the ball, Mark Stoops is, he's a defensive guy. We need it, but I'm going to need that third down conversion rate to be a lot better this year. Last year, they were last in the SEC on third down conversion, 34%, dog. Like, you cannot challenge for the East and be at 34% on third down.
No, you got to get off the field.
Yeah. So, safety Jordan Levitt returns. He's the only returner in that secondary. I think the inexperience, I would say, in the secondary is the only thing not concerning, but that we need to watch out for. Linebackers J.J. Weaver and Derek Jackson, they got experience. I think that front seven will be pretty good. What you thinking about that defense?
Yeah, for me, look, we a couple South Carolina boys, so of course I'm going to go find me some South Carolina boys that are going to shine for Kentucky this year, just so I can be mad that they got out of the home state. The first is going to be Jalen Greiger from Columbia, South Carolina. He plays their star position, suffered a knee injury last year after the first couple games, and so missed the rest of the year. But he's scheduled to be a full go starting this year, starting in the star position. Definitely excited to hopefully get a full season of him because he came out of the gate hot last year. And then the others in that secondary, Andrew Phillips from the hometown of Malden. I'm expecting him to do really nice starting at the cornerback position. He had like 4 or 5 pass breakups last year in limited action once he started starting down the stretch for him. So hopefully we'll see big things from both of those guys.
Look at some boys from the state of South Carolina. Just to expand on what you said, yeah, we are some boys from the state of South Carolina. We're not South Carolina boys. You're a South Carolina Gamecock, not me. So I just want to clarify that for the viewers, just in case they see any hate in the analysis throughout the season. Listen, man, again, we will be following the Kentucky Wildcats this season, man. Doing some game previews, trying to get interaction with the fans, man, to see what they think. I think this could be a special year for the Wildcats should they stay healthy. Let's go ahead and talk about the season outlook, man. They got 14 starters returning, stat guy. I think this season could be good if Devin Leary is 100%, the weapons on offense, that secondary comes in and holds their own. What key games are you looking at to define this season?
I think for me, it's going to start September the 30th, Florida at home. It is their second SEC game of the season, but the first is at Vandy. So they should just take care of business in that. Florida not expecting to be great this year, but they're 3-36 in their last 39 meetings against Florida. Yeah, they're 3-2 in the last 5, but still, I just don't know if they've gotten the monkey completely off their back yet. And that's a loss to a team that's a bottom tier SEC East team that could derail another season for you.
You said Florida's bottom tier. How about that? Stat guy said it, Florida fans, not me. Listen, one of the games I think that is important for them because I think they have a good enough team to challenge for, second in the East is the Tennessee game. I mean, they've lost 4 out of 5, 9 out of 11 to Tennessee. If you're going to get over the hump, and they don't like each other, you know what I'm saying? Like we learned from Kentucky fans and, our guy Taven who played at Kentucky, like they just don't like Tennessee for some reason. Maybe, like I say, border states, but Tennessee don't like them. They don't like Tennessee. Problem is Tennessee wins majority of those matchups. So with Tennessee improving on offense the way they have under Heupel, you got to beat Tennessee, to do anything in the East. And I think the other game is at Vandy. Again, it should be a win, but last year I thought it was a win. Vandy's, they took Vandy's rusher, but hey, Clark Lee has been, improving little bit by little bit. They return a quarterback and here and there. And so we'll see. I think they should win that game. I think they're going to be favored in that game, but those are the games that you have to win if you want to challenge for, top 1 or 2 spots in the East.
Yeah, and so for me, my second game is November 18th at South Carolina. Again, kind of same reason for the Tennessee. I think those 3 schools are going to make up 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the conference. And so, they kind of have South Carolina's number right now. Yeah, they got beat at home last year, but over the last 6 or 7 years, you've kind of dominated the series. Can you go on the road and put your foot back on somebody's throat and prove that you own them? And that could be a staple win down the home stretch for them and trying to line up a good finish in the SEC.
All right, so, man, let's go ahead and jump in and talk about that ceiling in Florida, the expectations that we think Kentucky fans, Kentucky's program should have. I'm going to start out, man. I'm going to start out with the floor. This is one of the ones where normally my ceiling and my floor are kind of close, but I think this season, just depending on how things shake out, injuries and things of that nature, the floor and the ceiling are vastly, separate. I think the floor is 6-6. And let me explain my 6-6 floor. 6-6 floor because I'm looking at the schedule and I think there's 2 losses on there automatic. I think Alabama and Georgia are losses. So you're already there. Then I think there's 5 other teams that are toss-ups. If we go by history, of course, Tennessee's a loss. But I think they are good enough that, they get Tennessee at home. They could possibly beat Tennessee. But if you're looking at Tennessee, Florida, Missouri, Mississippi State, South Carolina, bro, all of those could potentially be losses. You know what I'm saying? But on the other end, I got the ceiling at 10-2. Again, I talked about Georgia and Alabama being the 2 losses. I think Kentucky has the team to beat the rest of the people on their schedule. I do. But they got to put it all together.
Yeah, and it's like you read my mind sometimes. I'm a little bit kinder to Kentucky. I got their floor at 7-5. I guess I don't see Florida being a toss-up, but outside of that, I was right there with you, Asilin, is they could go 10-2. Now, I think their 2 losses are locked in stone tight, and I don't see any way of them getting around that, but I could see this team going 10-2. The big thing is going to be, can they stay healthy? Can they stay healthy, or if they lose a game they shouldn't, or maybe lose a game they thought they should have won, can they keep the season from snowballing?
That's right, man. The good thing is they get Florida at home, they get Missouri at home, they get Tennessee at home, they get Alabama at home. You know what I'm saying? So those games, it's good when you have a lot of your tough games at home. So what they're going to do is going to be totally dependent upon them and, of course, health with every team. But I think Stoops is a great coach. I think he is an underrated coach, as the college landscape is concerned. And I think he can do it as long as they stay healthy and stay focused. And that offensive line, that's going to be a key, too. They have to block better than they blocked last year. They had 4 or 5 starters returning. They got to do better than they did last year. Keep Devin Leary upright, and I think he can make some stuff happen. Kentucky fans, get in the comments, man. Let us know what your expectations for this season are. Are you closer to the 6-6, 7-5 expectation, or are you closer to the 10-2 expectations and possibly, challenging for that second spot, or, and who knows, whatever else, and making a New Year's Six bowl. But this is for the Stat Guy. This is Coach I. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. We out.
Peace.
I call my dogs out the pound. Let's go eat. Turn on the fan at it. Let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off they plate?